Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and welcome to that time of the year then, the start of my F1 2019 mod career mode here on the F1 2018 game. We've got a full F1 2019 mod with all the driver transfers, the car liveries, even the car pace modded in to some extent here, and we're ready for a full 2019 season. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, we're here today driving as Charles Leclerc in his debut Ferrari season alongside Sebastian Vettel, the four-time world champion, trying to see if we can take the fight this year to not only our teammate but also the Mercedes guys, the Red Bull with the new Honda engine and Gasly at the wheel alongside Verstappen, and of course a reinvigorated Valtteri Bottas alongside the reigning world champion Lewis Hamilton. We're here for round number one at the Australian Grand Prix. It should be a cracker. If you guys are looking forward to this entire career mode, then be sure to smash that like button already and let me know how hyped you are in the comments below. But we're here on the grid, but we're going to first of all, before we get to the race and the grid, are going to take you through a small highlight of qualifying here. We're going to be doing one-shot qualifying for this entire career mode. That's only really mainly because that's the best way to guarantee the mod actually works correctly and the performances of the car work correctly in qualifying there, to guarantee the actual different paces and try and match the 2019 performance there. Also at the same time though, it does throw a spanner in the works that if I make mistakes it really will punish me, and I have one shot in qualifying to do the job here. So here we are riding on board as Leclerc, obviously driving for this season. You can see Hamilton's already got quite a fair advantage in sector 2 there as we go through to the second last corner, making a pretty bad mistake there, locking up quite horribly, and so we were probably set for about P4 on the second row alongside my teammate Vettel, but instead as we go towards the line, probably going to be P7 unfortunately, and so might have to lose some time to the Red Bull and even maybe one of the Haas cars there unfortunately. So not the most ideal way to start the qualifying season there in P7, but let's look at the full starting grid then ahead of this Australian Grand Prix for the 2019 mod career mode. It's going to be a front row lockout for the Mercedes guys with Hamilton on pole position alongside Valtteri Bottas. Gasly does a brilliant job in the Red Bull Honda in third place alongside my teammate Vettel. Then Verstappen and Magnussen, who gets ahead of me in P7, as Leclerc, Grosjean P8, Raikkonen P9, Hulkenberg P10. Then Carlos Sainz and Ricciardo on the next row outside the top 10 with Kvyat P13 and Sergio Perez 14. Giovinazzi 15 with Lance Stroll 16th place. Lando Norris and Alexander Albon on the same row in the second last row, and the last row reserved for the Williams guys, Robert Kubica and George Russell. Right, so it's almost time to get into the race, and just like was the case in real life, we've made a mistake in qualifying as Leclerc, although my qualifying mistake has cost me even more. We're down to P7 rather than P5 on the grid there, so we have even more time to make up at the very start of this Grand Prix maybe. The strategy will be a one-stop probably to ultras to the soft tyres. Now that's a caveat, again, I need to say, for this mod career. Unfortunately, the mod cannot change the tyre compounds. That is a very fundamental part of the 2018 game, so unlike 2019, there will be a multicoloured set of tyres for every single race like it was last year. Of course, in real life, they only have 3 different colours now, so that's the other caveat to kind of take into account, guys, when you're watching this career mode mod series, that, you know, the mod does its best job to recreate the 2019 season, but some things just can't be changed that are fundamental to the 2018 game here on PC. But it's a good enough job. It really is a fantastic mod, so I do suggest if you do have the game on PC that you do check it out on Race Department. Credits below to the users that made it. But let's just get into this and get going and try and make this recovery from P7. I don't even know what a good recovery would be, of course, for Ferrari, as they kind of turned up to Australia on the back foot, surprisingly, after such a strong preseason testing. So I don't know how we're going to do in this career mode race, and I don't know how Vettel's going to perform from P4 on the grid. All I know is, as you guys know, I'll just try my utmost best to drive flat out and try and get the best position we can in this Grand Prix. And so without any further delay, let's get into this. The start of my F1 2019 mod career mode as Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari to 5 red lights for the opening round. The Australian Grand Prix is underway, and it's a great start for us actually compared to Kevin Magnussen there on the right side. A mega one for Pierre Gasly though. It's 3 wide up ahead between the Mercedes and Red Bull, and Vettel's made a bad mistake there. Double lock up for the German. He's gone down 2-3 places then, finds himself back behind the Haas car, and look at that for the race lead. Pierre Gasly, the Frenchman in the Red Bull Honda, is battling, I think that's Hamilton for P1. Hamilton on the left hand side there. Valtteri Bottas down to P3, fending off Verstappen there, and Verstappen and him are neck and neck. Verstappen gets squeezed out, and so we're having to lift off there and try to be very, very careful not to lose our front wing down the inside of the Dutchman. Going to try and squeeze him out, and it's going to be a pretty damn decent start actually, all things considered, for me, up into P4 with Vettel way down in, I think P7, so we basically swap positions there on track. But what a start for Pierre Gasly there, for the Frenchman in the Red Bull there. His new seat, and he's taken it by the scruff of the neck there, and he's in the race lead ahead of the 2 Mercedes cars. They're going to be very surprised by by that, because obviously the Mercedes definitely has the overwhelming majority pace there. So just a great start by the French, and so we'll see how long he can hold on to that and how long I can probably hold on to Verstappen and try and keep up with the Mercedes guys. If the Mercs kind of fight Gasly enough, maybe we could close up there, and we'll see how Vettel gets on recovering from P7. But as we go on then through this Grand Prix, a couple laps later, this is Hamilton now on the left-hand side. DRS open, it's going to be a move round the outside for the Brit, but Gasly does well to try and squeeze out Hamilton. So for now, Gasly maintains that P1. Hamilton's held at P2, and it's bunching up a fair bit. As now Bottas has joined the fight, so you can throw a blanket over those top three guys as they go through the last corner. You can see in bright matte red my Ferrari car in P4. We're catching up, and we're dragging Verstappen with us. So could we get into this fight and make it a four-way scrap for P1 to P4? Here goes Hamilton for the second time now in this Grand Prix. Round the outside, it's going to be a fantastic little move there for P1. Absolute confidence there under braking and mid-apex for Hamilton. He's up into P1, and now Bottas will attack the Red Bull man. So finally, maybe that's the real Red Bull pace kicking in versus the Mercedes car. Gasly pretty much bullied down to P3, and you can see though the amount of time they all lost fighting means I'm closing right up there in P4. So now I'm licking my lips. Can we try and do anything to attack Gasly and try and get up into the top three? This would be a fantastic start to the Grand Prix with 4 laps gone as we enter the end of that fourth lap there in Sector 3, trying to hound Gasly around the outside. He leaves us the room, but then cuts across in the racing line there, so we're all over his gearbox, but just not enough room to make a move. We could pop it to the inside. You saw I had a look there, had a little bit of a think, but instead I back out of it there because I probably would have lost a bit of my front wing if I went in a bit too hot there. So I'm still trying to survive this Grand Prix. You can see they're narrowly missing the wall on the left. Still getting used to this Ferrari car. Definitely a lot of understeer in this Ferrari, and the balance is a little bit out of whack there. As we go down around the outside though, we do make that move with DRS though. Good straight line speed from the Ferrari works engine there compared to the Honda, but the Red Bull is going to come back at me. The two Red Bulls actually go side by side, and so Verstappen might try and catch his teammate napping. So far Gasly's had the better measure of Verstappen, which is surprising, but Verstappen finally shows up to this Grand Prix and gets up into P4 there. But a good overtake for us, all things considered, around the outside of turn 1 there, because like I said, the Ferrari car, you know, from qualify I could already tell I was going to feel a bit awkward in this car. I still have to get used to it. It might take me a few episodes in this career to really zone into this Ferrari car. It is a little bit unbalanced, especially on some heavier fuel. So let's just try and go nice and measured now and try and get away. That's easier said than done. It might be difficult because Verstappen in the mirrors is right up my chuff, sticking with me for P3 here as I look behind me though. But yellow flags, and as I look behind me for the second time now, Verstappen's got an engine failure. There's contact between the two Red Bulls there, and so that is going to be a calamity for Red Bull there. That's going to be some sighing on the pit wall for Christian Horner as some contact was made. Gasly lost a bit of his end plate there, and Verstappen's Red Bull Honda goes up in smokes. His Honda engine's failed, and so unlike real life, unfortunately, Verstappen hit with some reliability issues here in this mod career mode, and he's out of this Reigning Grand Prix. The full safety car has been called out, and so we're going to pit in under the safety car, get a free pit stop, and so this is changing everything for everyone in this Grand Prix now. Both Mercedes are in. They're going to double stack. We're going to come in, but Vettel's so far behind me that our double stack with the Ferrari might not be too bad with Vettel. As we come out of the pit box there, Vettel gets held up by a few seconds, but not as bad as I think Bottas there you saw. I think Bottas got held up by about 10-15 seconds there, and so we're going to jump Bottas and get quite close to Hamilton now on this safety car restart. As everyone will bunch up, there's going to be a few people out of sync that did not pit under the safety car, but the majority of the top 10 now I think are converting to a 2-stop as I've gone to super soft tyres. Hamilton's done the same. I believe Bottas and Vettel behind me have done that as well. So as we go green now for the restart of this race on lap 7, you can see a lot of cars ahead of us who haven't pitted this Grand Prix. Clearly you can see the Williams car ahead of me. Usually isn't going to be a car I'm fighting there, but we're going to have to try and overtake him there. George Russell in the Williams car, very, very slow this season, so it's going to be a pretty easy pass around the outside, but nonetheless a bit of a mobile chicane, and actually to turn 1 still have to try and do the job on the exit. And ahead of me, Hamilton is fighting Robert Kubica, the other Williams car down the inside. Obviously those two former very familiar drivers with each other back in the day when Kubica used to be driving in Formula 1, and obviously 8.5 years later Kubica back in F1 but in a much slower car this time, and so no match for Hamilton in the Mercedes car. Flexes the muscles and he's passed quite easily, and can I try and get past easily now as Robert makes a bit of a mistake there, and so we get down the inside just about and narrowly miss breaking a bit of my front wing there, because that was very, very close. I can't lie. They had a bit of a panic in the cockpit at the time of racing, but now we move on to lap number 9, and Hamilton's overtaken another car and chucked back another mobile chicane for me to overtake as I continue to try and follow him as best I can. Obviously, at some point, Hamilton will get in clean air, and then the Mercedes pace will be a bit too much for me, but for now, I'm enjoying trying to chase after him and keep ahead of Valtteri Bottas for now. But Antonio Giovinazzi is the one I'm trying to overtake here in the Alfa Romeo car. He's proving very difficult to actually pass there. It really slowed me down on that right-hander, effectively almost like a bit of a junior Ferrari team, so I was hoping he would get out of the way a little bit earlier, but unfortunately not the case. And to be fair, he's just doing his own race, and very much like real life, he's parking the entirety of Italy here trying to defend against me. But here we go on the outside there. This could be a sweet move on the outside, very unorthodox place and area to make a pass around Melbourne, but here we go. It's going to be a stunning little move there around the outside of the Italian here at the Australian Grand Prix. And so now we continue on to try and keep that silver arrow in our eye line here ahead of us, but Hamilton just keeps on ploughing away, and he's going to overtake another car ahead of me, I think. So he's doing a stunning job. And yeah, as we move on to the next phase of the Grand Prix, lap 10, and Hamilton's already 2 cars ahead of me now. He's chucked Sergio Perez and one of the McLarens for me to overtake now. So we're going to try and get the Racing Point car of Perez here on the left-hand side and move around the outside. Seems to be a favourite place for me and a lot of guys to pass around here at Melbourne, and so we get the job done up into P7. And now next we have Lando Norris, young Brit in the McLaren. Hopefully we can try and get past him with ease as we go through the high-speed chicane, trying to set up this move on the back straight. Nice slingshot, open DRS, overtake mode on ERS, and rich mix going here. We're going to make a big old dive to the inside, very aggressive there. Nice twitch of the wheel on the right-hand side. Very much feeling it at the moment here. I want this because obviously the pace isn't there with the Ferrari car clearly compared to the Mercedes, but this traffic is helping me, so I really want to try and keep up with Hamilton here, but it's proving difficult still, because you saw there actually Norris came back at me with a bit of a wide moment there, trying to avoid the back end of Danica Fiat, the returning Russian in the Toro Rosso. They had to have some avoiding action in sector 3, and so it takes us a whole nother lap to catch up to the Toro Rosso Honda car. And so here we go. Will it be left or right here as we go down the back straight? It'll be right to the inside once again. This time not much of a darting move like the one we made on Norris, just a kind of nice ease into it. And we're up into P5 now. Lance Stroll, the Canadian, the other Racing Point car, the one ahead of me as we go a little bit wide, then dip a tyre into the gravel. So making a few little kind of rookie mistakes here at the moment, similar to what Leclerc did in the real-life Grand Prix so far in our first season with Ferraris. We move on to lap number 13, though. We're up into P3 now. Some people make their pit stop. So once we get past Lance Stroll, I think that's up into P2 then, actually. So there's Hamilton in P1 then proper. And so here we go now. DRS open. We're going to try and make the move to the inside there. It's going to be a bit of a dive bomb there to the inside. Lock up on the front tyre. We go deep and try and squeeze Lance Stroll out as aggressively as we can without touching him. And we're up into P2 then. So Hamilton's P1, I'm P2. I would think eventually Valtteri Bottas will get up into P3, and that will be the case as we move on to lap number 16. And the Finn is going to attack me on the left-hand side there, flexing the muscle of that Mercedes pace, and we're just going to have to try our best to try and defend against him here. Obviously, it is a circuit where you can defend, and it is very tricky to overtake. So for now, we live to fight another day there in P2. We've got to use Melbourne to our advantage there. Track position is really quite key around here with the amount of dirty air you get around this street circuit. And so as we move on to lap number 17 there, we're actually going to come in for a pit stop earlier than Bottas, I think. Or no, actually no, Bottas covers off there and follows us in. So I thought I was going to try and get an undercut. No, alas, he comes in with me. So fair enough, I cover him off there. And so we both come in tandem for another set of super soft tyres, I would imagine, because that's what I'm going to come in on. And so we go to the end of the Grand Prix now. Hamilton continues on for one more lap at least, but he was a few seconds ahead of me, so I don't think we have any sort of chance to kind of attack Hamilton in this race. So I think the best I can kind of hope for, really, I actually don't know, really, because we come out now, we're in P5. Carlos Sainz is ahead of me. I think that's the Renault of Daniel Ricciardo, the home favourite, ahead of me as well. And those guys are on soft tyres. I believe they're going to the end of the Grand Prix, you know. So the race results might actually be quite interesting by the end of this. But right now we have more things to worry about as Bottas shoots one to the inside there with a massive dive bomb there from the Finn. Very uncharacteristic, really, of Valtteri Bottas. And he gets me into that next right-hander. He's up into P6. We're down to P7 now. But we're going to come back at him as we bump it up into overtake mode. And we're going to go round the outside outside, flat out through that next part of the chicane, and we get the place back. So the only reason we actually lost that position was because I was fiddling around with the ERS, because you can see on the bottom right there, I'm low on fuel, I'm under-fueled right now, and also don't have too much ERS to play around with. But as I stay ahead, we've got, I think that was Gasly attacking Bottas there, and in the end also the Racing Point car got involved, so I don't know who actually came out on top there, but at the moment then, it's Hamilton that leads the way from Magnussen to Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault then. So Magnussen, Ricciardo, P4 is Carlos Sainz, so those three cars behind Hamilton, they're all for position, and here is Sebastian Vettel, who's managed to jump me for P5 then. So we've got 4 cars ahead of me that weren't there before that have managed to jump me with strategy or just good pace there, and you can see it is actually going to be a Racing Point car of Lance Stroll fighting Gasly there, Gasly down the inside, but Lance Stroll and Gasly had actually both overtaken Bottas there straight after I re-overtook him through that high-speed chicane. So very interesting stuff there. Maybe Bottas with an issue, but now it's Gasly in P7, I'm P6, and we're watching a fight for P4 between Vettel and Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard in the McLaren, the other McLaren as we've seen today, as we try and go around the outside, and that's very fine margin there on the right-hand side tyre there. We're going to have to try and go defensive now through the second last corner on Carlos and squeeze him out, and we're going to be up into P5, Vettel P4 as we get a lot of understeer though. Jesus, this car really is not finely balanced. I still very much need to get used to this. I feel like, especially through those last 2 corners, I'm feeling so much understeer in the car there. It feels like a boat in a way, and so we really need to try and dial in the car hopefully in the next few races. But having said that, Ferrari v Ferrari, I am a little bit faster than Sebastian Vettel at this stage of the race, I feel here. Got a bit more confidence in the car as we turn in on that left-hander for the chicane. You can see Vettel going a little bit slower. We've got DRS, ERS as well. We're going to go for the move on the left-hand side. Ferrari v Ferrari, the first battle with Vettel proper this season. We do this switchback move to cut it to the right-hand side there. Brake a little bit early on purpose. We get the inside line now, and that's going to pay dividends, and that is why I wanted to do the switch to the right-hand side of the track. We're up into what is now P4, and we can try and chase after Dan Ricciardo maybe, but through the last corner, you can almost see the understeer there, just not taking the apex very well. We cut across there, trying to break the toe of Sebastian. I don't think the fight's done quite yet there on lap 23. With 6 laps to go in this Grand Prix, I don't think we've heard the last of Vettel so far in this race. He's going to find some great momentum here in the same place Valtteri Bottas did earlier to make a big dive bomb down the inside there. He goes over the curb though and unsettles the car, and so we're able to keep that position for now, but he's still very much in the mirrors, and you can see on the right hand side I'm still playing around with the ERS, and also the fuel, we're still negative fuel, so at some point I need to go down to lean mixture or lift and coast, either one, and need to save fuel. But Vettel is attacking me, so at this stage I'm still focused on just trying to burn fuel to keep this car ahead of him, and so he's going to try around the outside. We're going defensive to the inside, and we're going to fend that position off, and meanwhile behind, I think that's Gasly in the background there, was overtaking Carlos Sainz, so we might have some company of the Red Bull Honda as we go through now the last corner. A little bit slow, it took too much curb there that time there, and got a bit too eager on the entry on lap 25 now. Vettel has got a stonking run, and he's going to go for it. He's gone for the major dive bomb down the inside. We've left in the room, and he's gone wide because of that. He's compromised his own line there, and that's going to give Pierre Gasly a great run in the Red Bull Honda, and he's going to go to the left-hand side, and just like it was in real life, Verstappen v Vettel, it's going to be Gasly v Vettel, and Gasly's going to get that to the left-hand side there. They're going to go through side by side through the usually flat-out right corner in qualifying there. The two of them still neck and neck, not giving each other any room to breathe there. They're still keeping their foot in, and Vettel very committed, and on the exit, they're still at it there, and Vettel should have the better line though. He's on the inside, so in theory, he should be able to squeeze out Gasly here if he doesn't go on the curb too much, but Gasly comes back, and oh my god, look at the traction that Pierre's got there, and I think he's got it. No, I honestly can't tell. This is a fantastic fight there. Who's ahead? It's Gasly. Gasly's got it. The Honda powers come out ahead, and Gasly is up into P5, but Vettel will come back at him though, and also for company will be Valtteri Bottas, who nearly makes it 3 wide as Gasly locks up on the front right. Vettel's back down the inside for good measure. He's back into P5. Good stuff there by Sebastian to fight back against the Red Bull, and so the Red Bull's down to P6, Bottas P7, but meanwhile, whilst all that went on, this is the man in control. Unlike in the real-life Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton is going to dominate the latter stages of this 2019 mod Australian Grand Prix, the opening round of this career mode, and he wins the Australian Grand Prix, the opening round. It's going to be Kevin Magnussen in the Rich Energy Haas car in second place, and this is Dan Ricciardo in third place. We pushed so hard to try and catch up to Ricciardo, but on the last lap, I'm just not close enough. Maybe 2 laps more, and I might have got a podium here, but no, Daniel Ricciardo is going to come home for a very, I'm sure, emotional home Grand Prix podium here in his new Renault team here. Third place for him. We're going to come in P4. I feel like that might have been, though, the maximum we could have hoped for from this race, to be honest.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Brilliant stuff from Mercedes today. That's another historic win. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
Welcome then to the podium, our top three drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
So there we have it. In contrast to the real-life Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton dominates the end of that Australian Grand Prix for the race victory and flexes the muscles of that Mercedes car. But what a surprising podium there. Magnussen P2, Ricciardo P3. A much better day in the office for him compared to what he had in real life at his home race there. A brilliant podium. For us, P4, P5, probably maybe the maximum. Obviously, we could have maybe got Ricciardo there a few more laps in that Grand Prix, but Magnussen Ricciardo jumped us and jumped everyone there in the top 10 with a brilliant one-stop strategy. I'm guessing, they started on a different set of compound or just went longer with the safety car period, whereas the rest of us kind of defaulted to a two-stop there. And so we did finish best of the rest in a way that were doing that two-stop strategy. Ahead of Vettel, ahead of Gasly, Bottas as well. Carlos Sainz and Romain Grosjean and Lance Stroll round out the points there. So some good points all for McLaren, and also Racing Point there with the young Canadian doing a great job to get one single point in that opening round there. So obviously the Drivers' Championship is the exact same as the finish. And also I got to point out it's 26 points for Lewis Hamilton because he also did get the fastest lap of this Grand Prix. And obviously 1 point is awarded for the man with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix who is in the top 10, and that goes to Lewis Hamilton. So literally a perfect weekend for Hamilton. All 26 points he could have got that weekend, he has got there in this first race of the 2019 mod career mode there. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's a solid job as Leclerc, P4. We've obviously got some work to do with the Ferrari car, and hopefully next episode, the Bahrain Grand Prix, our car can maybe work a little bit better at Bahrain with the higher temperatures possibly. In the constructors, obviously Mercedes are ahead. We're second place though, ahead of Haas and then Renault, who start well. Red Bull were disappointed obviously with that DNF with Verstappen there early on in the Grand Prix, and the same can be said with Alfa Romeo, who really just didn't turn up too much with Raikkonen and Giovinazzi being down the order. The same can be said of Toro Rosso really as well, because even Williams I think did okay compared to them. I think they got a bit of a kerfuffle of some sort there, I think, in that Grand Prix. But guys, that has been a thoroughly entertaining first opening round of this F1 2019 mod career mode with Charles Leclerc. If you guys did enjoy that, be sure to smash the like button. It'd be absolutely awesome. We're trying to aim for like over 2,000 likes on this episode, guys. That'd be absolutely awesome. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. If you're new around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoyed today, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.